people to find their people and to find their passion. And we all know every single day, we can look at the news and see children that have fallen through the cracks, that we missed, or our school system missed. And that's one of the beautiful things that happens for young people when they're involved in arts education. What I'd love for every single child in Wake County School to be on Broadway? Yes. Do I want them all to write symphonies? Yes. Do I want them all to create pieces of art that's in museums around the world? Absolutely. But you know what's just as important for me is I want them to be children that have an appreciation of the arts. Because those young people are going to be voters, and they're going to make decisions down the road. You know, I've lived in Raleigh for a very long time, and a couple things happen that make me sort of pause. One is I'll be at the mall, and I'll have some grown woman come up to me, Mr. Heath. Yes. And she said, well, you taught me when I was in second grade. And I'm like, well, how can that be? How can you be 45 and I taught you? Or either I'll have somebody say, oh, you're the pieces of gold man. You know, which is important. I can do a whole speech on that, so don't get me going on that until tomorrow. But when our children find their passion and find their community, that's what really relevant and rigorous arts instruction looks like. Reflecting back on my time as director of arts for Wake County Schools, and I was trying to think about some things that I'm most proud of, that I can say, these are big things. One of the things that I'm really proud of is the way our district and our teachers handled themselves during COVID. People can say COVID to me and my eye will start to twitch because that was the time every single day, all of us, teachers, administrators, the school system had to be nimble, and we were changing every single day. We never knew what was going to happen. And one of the things that I thought was so beautiful is that during COVID, we had some of our teachers that met as a group in the PLC word that I talked about earlier every single day, because they were trying to navigate, how do we serve our people? How do we make it better for them? That's very powerful work. Another thing that I'm really proud of is that, and especially at the middle school and high school level, we have entry level for any child that wants to be in an arts class. So suppose you're in the 10th grade and all of a sudden you say, maybe I want to try the trombone. We've got a place for you. It's important that we allow children to find a way into the arts. It's so important. And another thing that we have tasked our teachers at middle school and high school level is that, I'm going to use some big words, the demographics of your beginning classes should match the demographics of the school. You don't give it up more than that, but that's important. Yep. And part two of that is, if children are not in the room, let's get into the weeds and find out why they're not there. What can we do? Is it a cost? Is it a scheduling? And I was that person that would get right up in somebody's face and be ready to fight over that if I wanted them in there, because it's important. You know, I taught for 13 years at Living Middle School right down the road. Yep. And it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. But I can tell you, it changed me. Because when I started at Ligon, I wanted every child to go to Juilliard. I did. I wanted every child to go to Juilliard. And I was like, put your foot up here. You better balance and don't drop that leg. Do not drop that leg. And then over time, I transitioned from that into wanting every child to go to Juilliard, that I wanted to teach every child in that building. I wanted every single child to have the arts and to know how it would change their lives, because it would help them with community. That's really important. Another thing that I'm really proud of that we did in our school system is that now at every middle school and every high school, when they're doing budgets, there is money in the budget for schools to do school-wide productions. Because, my friends, that is about equity. We don't want schools over here to be able to do stuff and this school over here not to be able to. Right? So we're trying to level the playing field. And that's important work. Because we have, it's different everywhere you live, but we're trying to level the playing field. Here's some data from Wake County Public Schools. Came from my friends in arts education and my friends from data and accountability. And this is from last school year, 23-24. In Wake County Public Schools, we have 159,995 students. Almost 160,000 students in our school system. Of that, this is the part that makes me happy, and y'all go to scream like white trash at a rock concert. Y'all go to give it up, I'm telling you. The number of students that we have in dance classes, 9,300. The number of students that are involved in theater arts classes are 10,000 students. The total number of students that are involved in music and art, visual art and music, 100,000 students. One of my mantras has always been, children have to see themselves to know what to aim for. Let me repeat that because that's going to be a church moment. I might get a little Pentecostal and start running. Children have to see themselves to know what to aim for. They do. Because if they can't see themselves in an arts class, oh, that's not available to me. I can't do that. Or, it costs too much. I can't afford that. That's something that we have to think about constantly. We have been blessed to have a partnership with United Arts Council of Raleigh and Wake County for 45 years. 45 years. I love so much about this organization for so many reasons. But one of the things that I love about United Arts Council is they put words into action. That's important because we all know, I serve on a couple of boards here where it's just a lot of talk and nothing ever happens. United Arts Council, they make things happen. They do, they make things happen. If you're in, yep, they do. Yes, they do. If you'll indulge me just for a second, a few years ago, I was at Rogers Lane Elementary School for the International Bluegrass Music Association. And I think it's happening next week here, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they go. So we were at Rogers Lane, and one of the things that they do so beautifully is that they do the Artist in School programming that we're here to celebrate, but they did a performance there, and the band was Che Appalache, and I hope I'm not slaughtering that.
No, you got it.
So they're doing a performance. The children come in, they're very nice. They sit down. I'm sure they're thinking, when is this over so we can go to recess? And they're sitting crisscross applesauce. A lot of the children in the audience are Hispanic. This bluegrass band is a Hispanic bluegrass band. And what is the alarm sounding? What is happening? Is that not
talking about bluegrass?
Yeah, keep going. But what was important is the children came in and they were nice, but when the band started playing bluegrass, they were excited. But when they spoke to them in Spanish, it was a game changer. It was a game changer. And that is really an example of what equity looks like. Yeah? Yeah, that's really what equity looks like. Let's talk for a second about equity. That's a topic that all of us can relate to for a variety of reasons. And we all know that our work on race and gender, that's something that we've got to work on as a country, and we just got to keep those conversations going. But a type of equity that's close to my heart is around economic disparity. I think sometimes that gets left out of the equation, you know. And let me put on my school administrator hat for a moment. If you're a building leader in a high-poverty school, you have a different set of priorities. Let me give you some examples. If you're trying to make sure that every student in your school has breakfast and lunch, because you know that that's going to be the only 2 meals that they're going to get that day, you have a different set of priorities. If you know that on Friday when your students leave, that the food that they put in their backpack from Backpack Buddies or the school food pantry. It's going to be all the food that they're going to have for the weekend. And you're an administrator, it's got a slightly different set of priorities. If you know that when your students leave the building, that's their safe place and they have no idea where they're going to sleep, you have a different set of priorities. That, my friends, is where the work of United Arts Council becomes so important. They help the school system fill in gaps that sometimes the principal just can't have another thing on their plate. And they're just trying to do all the things. That's the work that they do. They help children to unlock their potential. The possibility of having a master class or seeing a performance can be a game changer because children can suddenly see themselves in the arts. They can find their place. And hopefully, they're going to find their place and they're going to find a new artistic community. While the master classes are great, the school programs are a way for students to be entertained and learn. Sometimes we just want to give them a program where they just get to come and have fun. Also, for the master classes, that is really great for the teachers to feed their artistic soul. That's really important. Through the Artists in Schools programming, students get to see culturally inclusive programming and master classes, and they see artists that look like them. It says to our young people, I see you, and you matter. Remember what I said earlier? You have to see yourself to know what to aim for. That's really important. In closing, it has been my honor to speak with you this morning and to tell you about the great things that are going on in arts education. But let's not lose sight of two things. We have to remember the reason that all of us in the school system are here. We're here first for students. We're here for those young people. That is our first priority. And number two, sometimes this gets lost in the mix. But we absolutely cannot lose sight of our teacher heroes that are making a difference in children's lives every single day. They are the true heroes in all this work because it's happening to them. Now I want y'all to repeat after me. Arts for all, every day. We will say it 3 times. 1, 2, ready, go.
Arts for all, every day.
Loud.
Arts for all, every day.
Loud.
Arts for all, every day.
It's been my honor to speak with you this morning.